Raise your horns high and let your spirit flow. It's the classic metal wrap-up show. Feel the rush, let the loudness grow. It's the classic metal wrap-up show.
All right, so I don't know if you want to take it there, Evil. I think we're talking metal church, but we have somebody here to talk metal church.
Yes, we have a longtime CMSer and quite frankly, someone famous in the CMS world, in my opinion. Miss Kendle Peters is here to join us to discuss some metal church, Blessing in Disguise versus the Dark, some Wayne versus Hal, and we'll see how everyone feels. How are you, Kendle?
Hey, I'm good. How are you guys?
Yeah, good.
Good.
All right. Well, I don't know who wants to go first. I guess do we go
We let the guest.
Wayne the Dark and then talk Blessing? Do we want to do that?
However you guys want to do it. I was gonna let Kendall go first and tell
Sure.
us her takes on the matter and how she's feeling. So
All right. So, I didn't really think about too much about Wayne versus Hal, although obviously I have my opinions on them. But as far as the Dark versus Blessing in Disguise, I'm gonna go with the Dark because out of both of the singers, Wayne is my favorite, and the Dark is my favorite with Wayne. So that's why when you asked me to do this podcast, I think I was the one who suggested these two albums. So the reason I suggest that these two is because The Dark, I think, is the pinnacle Wayne album for the songs on it. Tough to choose a top 3 songs on it. They're just, I think, all good. And then when it comes to the Howl albums, Blessing in Disguise, I think, is their pinnacle album, but it's not my favorite with Mike Howe. I lean towards more of the Human Factor and even his comeback with 11. So that's why I picked those 2 albums, but I'm leaning towards Wayne and The Dark because to me, that just is metal church, and The Dark is a feel. It is metal church and Watch the Children Pray, the first song that ever got me into metal church. So that's like where my roots are for this subject.
okay. How about you, Mr. Rubin?
Well, I think for starters, I think anything like with a lot of the Seattle acts. I mean, Metal Church was obviously one of those bands that we always caught around, even prior to them getting to that level of success that they had with the Dark. I think that debut album was awesome. I like it. Even I can even what is it? I think when the Highway Star cover made it on there, I was like, eek, because it was like, man, there's so much great original material that these guys have. They could do without doing the cover. But having said that, even that was pretty good. But the Dark, I think, also is, gosh, it makes you wonder what they would have done had they continued on with David in the band. Because I think that was kind of like I'd almost say they were kind of at that point, kind of like with Queensryche was with Operation Mindcrime. It was just kind of like that record where you knew something cool was going to happen, and hopefully they wouldn't have gotten commercial. I don't think they would have. I don't think David Wayne has that type of vocal, but they might have done some more accessible sounding stuff, maybe along the lines of like the Black Album with Metallica and stuff like that, but maybe not. It might have been a one album thing, and then they might have slipped back into metal church mode. But I really enjoy the Dark quite a bit. In fact, I remember watching. It must have been. It wasn't Headbangers Ball, so it might have been that metal show that Dee Snider had. where it was like a 30-minute block of metal videos. And I think that's where I saw the music video for Watch the Children Pray, which was awesome to see because it's like, hey, I've seen those guys before, and it was just pretty cool. I think that was shot at, I think, at the Moore Theater in Seattle or something. But no, a great record. I think the blessing. I mean, I'm a fan of that, but I think that's right around the time I know Kurt was. He did some of the writing. He might have performed. I think It's not really noted what he performed on Blessing. But then that's when they brought in. I think that's where they brought in Craig Wells. So
John Marshall.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
Dave Marshall, rather, the big tall dude that stepped
Yeah.
in for
John
Hetfield.
Marshall.
John
John
Marshall,
Marshall.
John Marshall.
John
So they
Marshall.
brought him in. Right? And so it did change not only vocal, but I think at that point there was somewhat disconnected a little bit just because Kurt wasn't in the band officially, and then he steps aside. David Wayne went and did Reverend, which I don't know if you guys are too familiar with. I
I
actually
am.
went back and rebought that record. I don't know about that one. I mean, I'm not super sold on Reverend. Um, it has its moments, but it isn't going to match anything that Metal Church was doing. As far as the How era, I mean, Jesus, that I probably saw them more with How than with David Wayne actually. And the last time I saw that era was with they did a co-headline with Armored Saint. And my God, I mean, it's like you knew that was going to be great even before you set foot in the venue. I mean, it was an awesome double bill. Um, and it's unfortunate what went down with Hal, but I don't know that I was as big of a fan of anything that came after him. I wasn't a huge fan, if at all, of the Ronnie Monroe era. I mean, it's just not good at all, in my opinion. And what's sad is that I knew one of the guys that was in Metal Church during those eras, Jay Reynolds, who was also in Malice. Super nice guy, but it was just kind of like, well, what do you think? I'm like, I didn't say anything negative, but it's like you can't really say anything great about it either. Um, and then the Mark Lopes era, I mean, I bought that one and wasn't really sold, and they didn't even come out my area before that thing unraveled. So I almost hope they put this to rest. But for me, I would probably again lean towards the dark, and like Kendall, I would say out of those albums with the How era, I'd probably go with the same with as her. Human Factor, and then man, there was so much good shit that even came out of him reuniting with Metal Church that it almost made me kind of forget um, about the Ronnie Monroe era. So I'll go with the dark.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
when I came back to, like, when I first discovered Metal Church around like 2013, and I heard Watch the Children Pray
Hmm.
on one of my dad's MP3
Hmm.
CDs. So that's why I went like towards Metal Church and listened to them. But at that time, Ronnie Monroe was in the band, and
Right.
I bought some of their albums. I bought Generation Nothing, but
Yeah.
wasn't really into it.
Right.
So, I went back to all their classic stuff, and that's how I really became a fan of Metal Church. And then by the time years later, when Mike Howe joins the band again, that's when I got really like hyped up and went to see them a lot. So it was just, and those like two albums, 11 and Damned If You Do, I was
Oh
on
yeah.
radio at the time. I was playing them a lot. I was seeing them at shows, and they'd always meet everyone after the show. So I was big into, when they were revitalized with Mike Howe. And then when he passed, that was just, I kind of just gave up on it, and I didn't even really tune into the Lopez stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and that one, that was just like real quick. It's like they announced he was in the band, the album comes out, they do a handful of dates, and then that kind of just went away.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, all right.
Well, Evil is going to do the usual of evil and go the opposite way of everyone, apparently. Um, Let me go into my Neely mode. Guys, time flies. It just goes on by so fast. But back in late 89, early 1990, I'm a 13-year-old kid with a skateboard, and there was this older kid down the street. He was always playing the metal music. He was a drummer. So his older brother was a drummer, had a drum set in the house. And he's the one who literally, I mean, the first time I ever heard And Justice for All was blaring out of his house, fucking full double bass Lars doing his thing. And so this guy was kind of the guy who I would go down the street and hang out with because he's a few years older, cooler dude. And he would open my ears to shit that I had never heard before that in my sphere was not around. So for me, this is all blessing in disguise because Fake Healer is the first song I ever heard by Metal Church. And at the time, if you go back to that time frame, having grown up in the 80s with the Jim Bakers and the Falwells and all these kinds of shady cats, I just felt like this dude's speaking something I'm very familiar with. I'm hearing about these stories in the news and so forth. And so I don't know. For me, How is the singer Metal Church for me? I don't know Wayne. I never saw Wayne. All that came after. And when I listen to it now, the only thing I would really give The Dark over Blessing is the album covers. Blessing in Disguise album cover sucks. Let's just be straight. That's bullshit. The Dark's album cover is cooler. But when I get into The Dark, I get into the third song, and it has this pre-chorus that's almost like pop. Listen to it. The third song in, I don't know what the name of it is, get off the top of my head, but it's almost like a pop pre-chorus. It's not metal to me. It's that right there that starts throwing me off. I'm like, am I listening to Metal Church? Am I listening to some fucking pop metal from the 80s here? And then later in the album, there's synth. There's synth in the album later. I don't like synth in my metal. This is me. If I hear Metal Church, I want Vanderhoof playing a fucking rhythm guitar and some hit double bass drums and some guy screaming in my ears. And so I don't know. For me, there's like a weird 86, 85 feel to The Dark that I don't like. I don't like any. Let's just come out straight out. Evil's not a big fan of this period of the early to mid 80s where everything sounded reverby drenched, no bass or drums, although they had decent bass and drums for a metal band in those days. And the producers are always trying to add these synth elements and this fucking shit that I don't need in my metal. So nothing against Wayne. I just don't hear as strong of a singer in my opinion, as How. And then when I go back and watch nowadays, go on YouTube and click on How singing the Dark songs, I think he sings them better than Wayne does, in my opinion. I don't know. That's just me. I've never seen Wayne live. He was dead by the time I would ever have a chance to go into this. So I'm just saying, I grew up with How. How was a singer to me for Metal Church. I'm sure the early albums are cool. I listen to them, but I find myself skipping tracks. Blessing in Disguise, there's maybe 2 tracks I would skip through. Badlands, a bunch of others that I like and I know as Metal Church. And so for me, How was Metal Church? And I'm glad he got back with the band. The albums he made later with the band, I think, are all solid. And it was kind of a blow to me when he did what he did, man. It sucks. If we know what the pandemic did to people, and if you know Eureka, California, where Mike Howe lived, is a place I'm very familiar with. My grandparents lived there. I literally would go many times a year growing up, all through my childhood, to Eureka, California. It's an amazing little coastal town, but it also is very depressing. Let me tell you something. It's downtrodden economically. It suffers from constant fog and bad weather and rain. I could just see a guy sitting there in the pandemic in Eureka, California, and finding a way to say, fuck, this is not the world I want to live in. I'm sure he had his own problems on top of that. I'm just saying, kind of understand how that could lead to that. It fucking sucks. I think there was a lot more that could have been done for Metal Church if Mike Howe had stayed alive. I'm sure if Wayne stayed alive, maybe they could have got back with him and done something. I don't know. I don't know the dynamics of that. I also know this. As a listener, I can honestly tell you, maybe Vanderhoof wasn't there on Blessing in Disguise, but I don't know that in 1990. That doesn't, as long as there's pounding metal guitar on the album, it sounds to me like Metal Church. So maybe there was something lost there in the writing. I don't know. But yeah, I'm going to go Mike Howe all the way. And that's pretty much what I go to now and crank when I want to hear Metal Church is a Mike Howe album. And there's a couple of them I do like. So yeah, that's just for me. So where I stepped into the picture, and so to me, I think Wayne sounds dated in early 80s. I don't really dig that.
Well, I'll follow up right there because I got some thoughts on what you said. So the reason I chose The Dark is because what you're saying is not really your stuff, is my type of shit. So you
Gotcha.
referred to track 3, which is Method to Your Madness, which was on my
Hmm.
top 3 of the dark, because of like that's my stuff. To me, I pointed out on this song, the bridge. Like I think throughout the dark, besides the tracks that are more thrashier and heavier, the more melodic songs, they always have a really good bridge, specifically Method to Your Madness. And
Mm.
that is kind of my stuff with the 80s stuff. We'll talk about our other great band Doc and the bridges always got me, on their albums too from the mid 80s. So this is why I picked the dark. And the synthesizers, I think you're referring to Western Alliance, which is the
Mm-hmm.
last track, which I don't mind that. Like I like a little,
Oh, yeah.
different things to our to the stuff they did on the dark. Um, and I know there was something else you mentioned. Oh, you talked about Evil Neely. You talked about what Kurt had done for Blessing in Disguise because he's given writing credits, but he's not
Mm-hmm.
actually in the band. One of my tracks I pointed out that I wanted to talk about was one of my favorites, The Spell Can't Be Broken.
Mm.
And if I had to guess, I would think that he came up with that riff in the beginning because it's
Yeah.
very unusual. Like Kurt Vanderhoof has a way of like making a lot out of a little, and that's why
Mm-hmm.
I've always liked him as a guitar player. And I think later on in Metal Church's career, that became the formula. He made a lot out of a little when it came to riffs. Like if you just listen to the riff on Spell Can't Be Broken, it's just like multiple slides all at once. You would think like something like that wouldn't work, but they really structured the whole song around it. And they even got a break in the song that alludes to Fake Healer, which you said is your favorite, which I also think, is one of my top tracks on Blessing in Disguise. And I also want to say, I don't know if people know this, but David Wayne, I don't know if he claimed to write Fake Healer, but it's kind of like a Mechanics
Oh,
for
yeah.
Horseman deal
Yeah.
where maybe he came up with the initial
Well,
idea for Fake Healer and then he later released it with Reverend. And I know you
yeah.
said you didn't like Reverend, but I am a big fan of
Yeah, I
Reverend.
did.
Road Will Miss You. It became a lot thrashier and
Yeah.
I did like Reverend a lot, but even though I'm a bigger David Wayne fan, I do think Mike Howe did a way better job with Fake Healer than what David Wayne eventually did with what he called Legion, the song.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, let's just put it like this. I'm not trying to compare them. I'm just saying in my
Hmm.
mind, like someone could tell me that Blaze Bayley wrote something that Bruce Dickinson later sang, but I know Blaze Bayley can't sing like Bruce Dickinson. So I don't really care.
Yeah,
I'm saying is like when it comes to Fake Healer, when I go see Metal Church, Kurt plays the riff. It sounds to me like a Kurt riff to me, and he plays it like it's his riff. So I'm assuming he wrote the riff. I don't know. I'm not.
yeah,
When I get into these band systematic, I'm in a band, so I know how this works. Some of these songs could be one guy threw in this little piece, this guy threw in this little piece, this guy threw in this little piece, this guy changed the words here, and now it became this. Who wrote that becomes a debatable thing that each band starts getting into who's Johnson's bigger and I want this. And it's usually about money and publishing and credit and all this egotistical stuff. My point is, as a kid in 1990, you have no internet. You have no way to look these things up. You're holding an album and you're listening to whatever's on coming out of the speakers, Vanderhoof, Marshall, whatever, you know, to me, when I heard Fake Healer, I was like, this dude's legit. Whoever's singing this shit is legit. This is heavy. This is the way I like it. It's nothing. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that don't mind the synth in the 80s. I mean, when Judas Priest started incorporating synth is when Evil starts tuning out. I don't need to hear Ram It Downs and Turbo Lovers and this shit. I don't need these extra keyboards. I want fucking KK and Glenn in my face and Rob screaming. And so that's just my take. Everyone's different. As soon as I start hearing too much keyboards, I usually start, unless it's like prog rock or like, I don't know, some stoner shit or something like Pink Floyd, then that's okay. But am I metal? Nah, I don't. I'm straight. I'm like a meat and bones kind of guy. Metallica, Megadeth, they don't need fucking keyboards. They just need fucking metal guitars in my face. And that's the way I like it. So. And oh,
gotcha.
by the way, I don't know. I probably should dive into Wayne's solo stuff or whatever, but I guess I never thought much of him as a vocalist to be. I'm just gonna be honest. I just in the scope of metal singers, I just
Yeah.
never thought of him as being a strong enough vocalist. I would go around trying to find solo material. I don't know. And again, it's just something I relate to too. I think there's something about Mike Howe in the videos. That's where I came in. I go see Badlands video on MTV late at night. That's the guy singing. So I just imagine this guy is the guy in Metal Church. And yeah, with Monroe and these other guys, I just tuned out to all that.
Mm.
This is not. This wasn't something I was. It's just kind of like I don't know. I guess there could be the period where there's no Bruce Dickinson
Well, it
before
was
and
like
after, but I listened to Bruce Dickinson in Iron Maiden.
it was
That's what
like
I listened to.
it was like the Gary Sharon Van Halen. I
Yeah,
mean,
I mean, again, well, that's a little more even to me. Like, not with Sharon, but with Hagar and Roth,
right.
there's some things
Yeah,
I
yeah,
might be
yeah.
able to enjoy out of both. And I'm sure, I guess, I don't mind the dark. I just say there's periods where I get into it. I'm like,
Hmm.
if I was the producer guy, I would have said, let's not do that. If I was Torben Ulrich looking at Lars, I'd say, let's delete that and delete the keyboards off that track and delete that part there. And that's just me. I don't like the poppy stuff. If I want pop, I would go to Dokken. I want Don Dokken to do pop metal and that kind of thing. I don't expect that for Metal Church. Metal Church to me was supposed to be like, I don't know. I had them right there as like a tier under the
Hmm.
Metallicas and Megadeths and Slayers. And then there's these other bands, Metal Church and Exodus and Testaments underneath them that I'm listening to. And so, I don't know. Yeah.
Mm. I mean, both those two albums, though. I mean, I think the opening song is fucking awesome on both those
Both of
records.
them.
I mean,
Absolutely. I would
Ton of
agree to that.
Bricks and then
Yes.
Fake
Ton of
Healer. I
Bricks
mean,
kicks you in the balls
oof.
for sure.
Yeah. I mean, and again, love both of them. I think I just prefer that particular record. Oh, if I'm just choosing between these two, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you can't go wrong with either of them, really. And like I said, that last time I saw them with Armored Saint, I mean, what a pairing. I mean, that was just perfect, and they
Yeah,
didn't
I'm
disappoint.
kind of kicking myself for not seeing that. I never got to see Metal Church live. I've never had to be in the same place, the same thing always happens. As a musician, I'm playing gigs and they're playing in San Francisco and I'm in fucking somewhere else, LA or whatever. So,
Right. Yeah.
I
but
did
and they're
travel
also
a
a band that
lot.
doesn't. Oh, I was gonna say also, I think as a band, I don't feel like they toured quite as all the time. They seem like they have little short runs of things they do here and there, and then they're gone for a while. And so, yeah.
Well, I traveled a lot up to New York to see them, and I'm based in more Scranton, PA.
Mhm.
And I traveled up to Poughkeepsie, New York often because they would have Chris Caffrey in their band, and he's from up in New York. So they played the Chance, which no longer exists, multiple times. So I probably saw them there since Mike Howard rejoined about 3 times.
Wow. Yeah.
And that's what I was saying. They were great guys. Like they
Hmm.
hung out with everyone after the show, and even at one point, we were supposed to, we as in everyone who attended the concert was supposed to go to an after party for Chris Caffrey's birthday, which
Hmm.
was in the bar connected to the Chance in Poughkeepsie. And this is like a funny thing that happened. And me and my grandmother went to the show, and we went back to the bar to hang out with them. And Chris was there. And next thing you know, I see Steve Unger, bass player, walk in,
Hunger.
talk to Chris, looking upset, like they were supposed to all go over there and party for his birthday. They were even advertising it as such. And you could tell he's saying something like, we gotta head out. Maybe it had to do with a flight for the next show or something. So here I am thinking I'm about to play like a pool game with Metal Church after the show because we're in a bar, like almost like a dive bar. And then they all like they all left. Metal Church all left, and Chris was there by himself, and I felt bad for him.
Wa-
Poor
wa-
guy.
Watch me,
Yeah.
watch me connect the dots and lead it back to Neely.
How so? Because
Unger, Unger, Metal Church bass player,
yes.
played with Dan Crenshaw.
Oh,
Who?
nice.
Dan Crenshaw was the original Neely for Don Dokken. And Dave Reynolds in Metal Church. I don't know whether he was in the band at the same time as Unger. I don't believe so. But he also performed in Crenshaw's band out here in the Portland, Vancouver area. And again, the connection, he was the original Neely for Don Dokken. Weird.
The weird small world.
It's all
And Chris,
connected.
I'm starting to wonder, is Crenshaw the center of the universe?
He might be. I don't know. He might be.
Maybe we don't know this, but he's the guy who's the connective tissue between all these players and all these people behind the scenes.
We'll probably
I mean,
connect him to Eddie Trunk soon because he moved to Las Vegas, I think.
so Unger played with Crenshaw in a band of some sort,
Yeah,
and
but
Crenshaw's
Garden of
band?
Eden. He was in Garden of
Garden of
Eden
Eden. Okay,
with
that was
Dan Crenshaw, and so
I have
was
to go
Jay
back and look at that
Reynolds.
video.
Yeah, so was
Yeah,
Jay Reynolds at
interesting.
one point. Yeah, I don't think
I
they
see.
were at the same
I
time.
don't think Kendall is as familiar with the Crenshaw story. So Kendall, there's this gentleman named Dan Crenshaw who has his own band now called Crenshaw. You can go check out. Ira Black is playing guitar on the album, I believe. And
Another
he was like,
Dawkins
yeah,
connection.
Yep.
There you go.
yeah, and he was originally from the Seattle area, right? Or that's where he was living
He
before
was
he moved to
living out
Vegas.
in Vancouver,
Oh,
Washington. Yeah,
Vancouver.
just
Okay, yeah,
probably
yeah,
a
between the
30-minute
two.
drive from Portland,
Yeah,
north. Yeah.
yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. And so, anyways, he was like the original guy that would do the Neely role, which was helping Don with stuff and showing up behind the scenes of different shows and, just being the assistant, so to speak. So I guess when Crenshaw decided to step out on his own, Kendall, and form his own band and make his own fame, is when old Wendell had to get recruited into the position.
Only in the
There you go.
Mid East, though, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Only in the middle of America. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
And I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting. If Don needs me, Evil's going to fly out to
You
wherever
fly
Don
out.
needs me to complete the trifecta of guys who have got this hair and we're helping Don out and we're doing this. Get the fuck out of the way, Don. Pay Don, motherfucker, pay him.
Right.
All that stuff. So
Well,
yeah.
well, there you go. That's
So I
go ahead.
rounding out the metal church, though, I was going to say I kind of agree with you, though. Like, unless they can come up with some stellar new
Mhm.
singer who's going to write a whole new chapter of a couple albums and really create a mark, if I was Kurt, it'd be pretty hard to understand how we're going to continue forward with this.
Right.
I think
and
it's
it's like,
over.
Yeah.
Metal,
Yeah.
I think I would think it's just over.
that's sad.
I wouldn't even want anyone. I mean, who are they going to get? Todd LaTorre?
Well,
And that's,
what I'm
Yeah.
that's
saying
not
is,
all right
though,
with me.
I kind of felt that way before, though, with Journey and Arnel Pineda showed up. I didn't
Mhm.
feel so bad about Arnel. And so sometimes there is a diamond out there in the rough that someone has never heard. Some guy out there who grew up on Metal Church and Metallica and Slayer and these bands and who wants to front a band and maybe he hasn't been found. I think it would require Kurt to do a lot of searching around the internet
Well,
and scouring places. And I don't know if Metal Church is a big enough band to warrant a
no.
guy coming across the pond or from some other place. But I just think it's sad that a guy who writes such quality riffs and has led a band for as long as he has to just pack it up because, quite frankly, two guys left this mortal plane, as they
Right.
say.
Right. And the turnover with the singers that weren't really a good fit. I mean, he had
There was a
those
bunch
two
of other guys
that
that came
didn't
through
fit.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you guys have ever checked out Kurt's other stuff though. He did what Presto Ballet. I'm not too
I've
big
heard
on
of it.
that, but the Hall of Flame is pretty cool. That's more along the lines of like a classic rock type sound, which it's kind of cool to listen to him expand outside of the heavier crushing stuff and do more melodic
Yeah.
stuff. But yeah, those are worth checking out. I'll have to revisit the Reverend CD. I did get the one with the demos that has the Legions tune on there.
Gathering of Demons.
Gathering of Demons, yeah, and that that was only available as an import, so it's like
Yeah.
okay, I'll order it, and it did show up. I just haven't listened to it yet, but yeah, lots of cool stuff though. I mean, I hope Kurt does something, either with Hall of Flame or does some other project with maybe some other well-known singer. That way he can do the perform the Metal Church classics live. I mean, geez, he's got a ton of stuff that's
Well,
just worth listening to again.
well, that's why I'm saying it would be awfully a shame to just absolutely say we're never doing this again. Again, if he could find a guy who would wanted to be the front man and really could fill the role and bring some justice to it, then that'd be cool. And yeah, I mean, one way or the other, it seems like he had to get some kind of a project together for yourself, dude, regardless, and play your shit.
Yeah,
Because I mean, there are people out there like us who would still go see him. So.
yeah.
Well, I think that's all we got for Metal Church. I mean, unfortunately, it's kind of a band that ends on a
Yeah,
sad note. I
it
feel like
does.
we're
A little
all,
bit,
oh,
a little bit. But you know,
everybody dies.
there is some cool stuff. I know they reissued all the Elektra albums, and I got those on one of those packages where there's the little slip covers and stuff. But yeah, that would be a good place to start. I think get all those Elektra albums in that box set that they have, and check them out. And it's worth checking out probably all the How era stuff. I mean, everything there, even that compilation that they put out at the tail end. I think they put out a compilation and a live album. I mean, they're all worth owning. It gets spotty with the Monroe and then the Lopes stuff, but yeah, you know, a lot of bands have the kind of sketchy album era phases. So,
Yeah, and I
and
would never like just.
I
Oh,
think it's
I would
worth.
never discount the Wayne era, bro. I would
Yeah.
totally add. I mean, Ton of Bricks is on the playlist if you're
Oh
gonna have a
yeah.
Metal Church
That's
playlist.
fucking
So I mean,
great.
there's stuff back there that you're gonna have to have in the thing. I just, looking back, I was recently the other day I was watching something. I think it was from a Bloodstock or something. Metal Church did a fuse back with How, and I was watching him sing the way material. Like, fuck, dude, he brings it on that material just as well as he does his own shit. So, you know.
Yeah.
That's another thing that's kind of sad about that situation. Like some of these rock stars, y'all, you know what I'm talking about. You watch their slow demise from their alcohol or their abuse of themselves or whatever it is that you can kind of see Ozzy as a slow, the decline is happening in front of our eyes. Mike Howe seemed as fit as a fiddle, as
Hmm.
healthy as could be, and the kind of guy who was taking care of himself. And it really fucking sucks that that ended that way.
Yeah. Um, I, what's just real quick note. Maybe this will be the high note. We can end on a high note. Unger, have you guys ever checked out his Elvis show that he does? He does like
I've seen him in the
he's
Get Up, but I've
yeah,
never
he's
seen
he
him.
does like
I've
all
never
the.
seen the show.
It is fun. It's worth watching. I mean, I've only seen it once, but I was like, well, this fucking guy really pulled it off. I mean, it is a fun event. So that's worth watching. I saw him performing with Autograph, which that was an odd. He was the bass player. He stepped in for
For Randy Rand.
Randy Rand, yeah, when he passed on in Autograph, and now they're beyond Autograph or something like that, if they even still exist. But it is so
I
weird to
think
watch him
I think
performing Autograph.
didn't Lynch take that back over?
Yeah, he took the name back. Yeah, he took the
Yeah, is
name
he
back.
not
So
doing gigs with it? He just owns it
mm,
and
he
doesn't
just
let them
owns
use
it.
it. He's pulling a Burton Cummings on him. I'm taking my tools and going home, and you guys can't play this stuff no more.
Right.
Well,
He should just
yeah.
lease the name and get something out of it. Because I mean, they're
Or I mean,
performing the
I was
songs.
hoping if you're going to bother to take the name back, dude, get a band and go play.
Hmm.
Right? I mean, you got the name back. That's what you're supposed to go do. Don't just
Right.
let it sit there and don't do anything with it. Go find some gigs and be out there playing some shows. Maybe again, another guy who's probably got other gigs and jobs and things, and just doesn't want people out using his name and trudging it through the mud or whatever.
Right. Right.
Evil has a weird take on that too, though. Like, if the name's going to be used and you're actually going to go out and put a band worthy and put them on the road, cool. But if you're not going to, then why do you care that some other guys are out there paying tribute to your music? I mean, it happens every day in America. There's bands out there covering other bands right now in some bar tonight, playing somewhere, playing someone else's song. Is there like someone else in the show? "Oh, I don't want you playing my song. It's not me. We're going home." I just don't understand that
Hmm.
mentality. Even I can understand if it was so horrible it was completely diluting your. But
Right.
if it was paying a general tribute and sounding somewhat like what the song sounds like, and people are paying to see it, then you're not going to go out and tour it. You're just going to sit at home in your living room with your guitar. Then
Hmm.
why do you care that they're out there playing your tunes? If anything, I'd be like, damn, keep the party going. Rock on,
Yeah.
brother. Glad someone's playing my tunes and someone's hearing it. I just don't understand this selfish mentality.
Right.
But anyways,
I'm gonna form my version of Reverend, and then you can play bass, and I don't know,
well,
Kendall, you play drums
I
or
think
something?
I had a short stint of
Yeah.
being a drummer,
See, I did it without
see.
even knowing. I picked the
Well, I
members of
didn't.
my Reverend.
but I got more front woman energy.
Oh, well then
I
I'll be manager.
I was going to say I didn't want to announce this yet because it hasn't come to fruition, but I did submit a tape to Kurt while I was going. I'm just seeing if I can get the
Yeah.
gig, but I haven't heard back yet. So
Well, there you go. Yeah.
not calling
But yeah, I mean, I don't think you can go wrong with either of these two singers. I mean, unfortunately, they've both departed, but man, what solid records regardless, you know. I think the only shitty thing
Absolutely.
about the the How era was like you said, the cover for Blessing, and
Yeah,
then
that Blessing Disguise album.
but
When I first
but
saw it, I was
wait,
like,
there's a worse album cover than that. The Hanging
which
in a
one?
Balance, right? The one with the
Yeah,
cartoony,
another.
yeah, that was a
The
bad
fat
album.
lady.
Yeah, that one was bad.
I
That one was
just
worse. So
Neely would not
it
approve
makes
of that.
no, he would not approve of that.
there's too many lbs,
She's full figured.
too many pounds on the waistline there.
Right. Oh man.
But so I hope it's not in bad taste, Kendall. But I think I've been working on some things behind the scenes here that Ruben's kind of privy to. But my idea was, and don't take this the wrong way, but I bought a Ouija board,
Uh-oh.
and I'm trying to
There
see
it
if I
is.
can get Wayne and Hal through the Ouija board to kind of
Uh-oh.
filter some messages to me here, and maybe call into the show at some point in time and have a debate themselves over who's singing what, where, and why, and who's better. I figured it's the only way we can't get an interview with these guys anymore. So the Ouija board was my only way to connect to the other side. So it's okay.
Oh. What do you think?
I,
That could
I,
open a
I don't
portal
know.
to hell.
I don't think that'll be too demonic since they seem like both down to earth guys.
And they
So I think you
were.
can
I
have a
mean, if
very
you
friendly
listen,
Ouija conversation.
if you listen to
Yeah.
some of those interviews with David, I mean, he just seemed like like an everyday dude, right? I mean, even his voice doesn't match up what you would think the singing voice would sound like.
Sounds like.
He it was just like, what the heck? Is this really him? You know, but it was. And that was his voice. And then Mike, super nice dude. I mean, I had interviewed him a couple times and he was just kind of like, they usually give you like 30 minutes to do the interview. I'm like, well, Mike, we're almost done. Last question. He goes, oh, no, keep going, and you always manage to get like 45 minutes or an hour out of him. But no, super nice dudes, I think. Can't say anything
Yeah,
bad about him.
and a hell of a performer, man. Again, just go hit your YouTube and go watch him sing with the fucking band, and he tears it up on stage. He's like, there's some guys out there just stand there at the mic stand like I do, singing, I only do one for you, play my instrument. And there's guys out there like him, like Bruce Dickinson, running around from end to end of the stage, fit as a fiddle, jumping off things, making things happen. So it takes a
Yeah,
certain kind of balls to do that.
right. Well, all right.
Well, rest in peace, Mr. Wayne. Rest in peace, Mr. Howe. Yeah.
Well, did you want to tackle a couple news stories since we got like a couple minutes, and then maybe Kendall
Oh,
can
that's.
chime in on thoughts on anything? I mean, there was a few things I think they're on
Mhm.
online. I don't know if you have anything that you wanted to throw out there.
Well, I was more worried about. I know you had a time constraint, so I don't want to tie you up too long, and I don't know what
Yeah,
the
I mean,
time is.
I
But
got, yeah, I know I have
have you?
to be somewhere and do
Yeah.
car work on something, and it's like, but
Things go
but
life
we could
things.
do
Yeah.
20 minutes on something, fill 20
Yeah.
minutes and
Well,
get to the top of the hour.
we should bring up. I'm not. Again, another band that just never. I would read the name in the Metal Edge or whatever the magazines, but I would never. I don't think
Junkyard.
I've ever. Yeah, I don't think I've ever actually sat down and digested a Junkyard album or anything. I think I've heard a
Oh,
song or two through this
fucking
classic
great.
metal show. But yeah, go ahead and speak to it. I guess
Well,
the singer
Junkyard.
passed away.
I mean, again, Junkyard. We got David Roach, passed away. Now he'd been battling cancer, I think, for several months, and another guy that I got a chance to chat with. One of when they reunited, they performed in Portland. I forget how many years ago. I guess I'll have to look it up because I know I did a write up on the show. But again, the guy had his demons like most of these guys. The last cruise that I was on, I got to meet him and was hanging out, chit chatting with him
Chit chat.
and Angry Anderson from
Ooh, a
Rose
legend.
Tattoo, and we wound up. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he had looked like he was taking advantage of the free drinks, which I mean, at that point you're like, well, he's having fun. He's not performing today until then. He's doing it while he's performing, and it impacts at least one of the performances. He actually stopped a couple songs in. He goes, hold on a minute, and Tesla was performing in the main theater down below, and he goes, wait a minute, is that Tesla? And he basically said, well, why don't we just stop the show and listen to Tesla? Because you could hear the sound bleeding through the through the
room. Yeah.
floors. Yeah. But I was like, wow, he just kind of derailed the momentum there. Super nice dude, but it sounded like, you know, he had had like some cancer of some sort in the neck, throat, and then head area or something like that. So, but
Widespread.
no,
Yeah.
man, I think the self-titled debut album is fucking great. I mean, you can't go wrong with that one. I'd put that one head to head with like Appetite for Destruction. I think as far as like energy and song for song, not the same type of singer, I think, as Axl obviously, but I think I would put that Junkyard, probably the debut LA Guns record, and the Appetite, all those three records. I mean, they're definitely go-to classic albums. And the ballad Simple Man on there, not the Skinnerd uh, song, is just awesome. I mean, if you put that up against Sweet Child, I think that one would Simple Man would win every time. Just that it doesn't get old. It's kind of one of those timeless kind
So,
of ballads.
question: where are they from?
Los Angeles. Well, that's where they were based. I think now the guys are kind of scattered all over the place.
Gotcha. I can't ever think of a time where I ever saw them on a show or on a bill touring with somebody.
I
I
think
just can't ever
they
think.
actually had Black Crows opening up for them, believe it or not, early on.
Hmm,
Yeah. And
wow.
then,
Yeah, would never
Black Crows
imagine that.
kind of leapfrogged over
Way,
them.
yeah,
Similar
way off.
similar along the lines of like with as I've mentioned before, you see GNR opening up for the Cult, and then all of a sudden it's like boom, they blew up, and the Colt's still kind of, just kind of chugging along until they finally do the Sonic Temple album, and then they open up for Metallica, and then they got a little bit of a pop. But yeah, it was one of those deals. I mean, they actually had the Black Crows opening up for them, and then the Black Crows just kind of gathered steam and leapfrogged over them. But great band. I mean, worth checking out. I mean, especially I think the go-to I think is the debut album. I mean, there's not a clunker on there.
Kendall, you have any familiarity with Junkyard?
Well, there is no doubt that I am a metal expert, but I have no time for Junkyard. No,
I have no time for
I
junkyard.
not just me channeling like Norm Macdonald, but no,
Uh,
I have heard the track
yeah,
Simple Man, but
yeah.
that was the peak of the Junkyard
Have you ever
experience.
heard Hollywood though? That's her other song. That's the one they had the video for too.
It was quite possible that I had played
Yeah,
it
probably.
on a previous
Yeah.
show when I did radio because I tried to bring a lot. Like I tried to bring as much as I heard about to the show. So in that sense, that's probably why I heard the song I mentioned, like Simple Man. But as far as Junkyard, I see like I've been seeing on Facebook, social media, people who are upset about uh the passing. But as far as Junkyard, that's all I got.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
really
there you
have
go.
much to add to it either.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm gonna have to go back and take Ruben's advice and listen to this album. But
Yeah, I would check
yeah,
out that one. I mean, I think there's lots of bands that are along the lines, and it ironically, I think they toured together, and I was hoping they would, I mean, it's a hard sell. As you know, out in the Northwest, I mean, we get bypassed all the time, but Junkyard, Circus of Power, and I think Little Caesar did a tour. And oh man, I'm a fan of all three of those bands. I would have loved to have seen that, even if it's in a small club that only holds 300 people. But they didn't get the offers apparently.
I'm only familiar with Little Caesar. I don't know any.
Yeah, yeah. So there you go. Not the pizza.
It's one of those things. Again, I think like again, go back into those days. It's like if it wasn't something that again was on the magazine cover, on the MTV and Headbangers Ball, or something I see coming on an opening for a band I'm going to go see on a show, then it's really hard in those days. It wasn't like the internet where you just go, let me just search up Little Caesar's best albums or Junkyard's best albums and figure this shit out. So other news we can bring up real quick. It looks like Vince is back out performing for the first time in almost a year, and like they were talking about, I think a little bit on the CMS last night. They're still cracking him on the weight, but he looks like he lost a lot of weight to me. If it's a heart attack or
Yeah,
whatever it was, I mean, dude looks like he shed about 40 pounds, in my opinion. Just
yeah.
saying.
I mean, I think I think if you've ever been a bigger gentlemen, you're able to pick up on that. I think you're the average guy that's, looks like Mike Tramp, you're going to go, that's a fat motherfucker. But he did lose some weight. It didn't help him much. I mean, he still sounds like Vince.
Well, I mean, how long he had some of those vocal problems back then. I mean, he was still chirping
Yeah.
out and blurting, talking, not
I
quite
don't,
getting the words
did
out. And
you, there is that trunk uh, Facebook page group. And there was that one guy that said, "Oh, he sounded great in on the Feel Good tour," and I'm like, "Well, yeah, I agree. I mean, that was probably the best he ever sounded." And then it was all
agreed, but
downhill
even
from
then,
there.
you can go back now
Yeah.
on YouTube
Oh,
and watch
sure,
some Feel Good and realize he's still kind of at times is
sure,
cutting corners and
right.
not, and he was like Roth. He's a front man. He's not a singer. He's not Pavarotti. He's not going out to serenade you with an opera. He's dancing around the stage, being a front man of a rock and roll band, leading a party. That's the way the Motley Crue looked at it. It's the way David Lee Roth looks at it. So when people come, why does Roth sound? Because Roth's not in it to sing to you, dude. He's putting on a show that might involve things that don't involve him actually even singing in his mind. It might be the spinning of the shit or the whatever. So, I mean, if you're not into that, then don't go see those bands. If you're looking for pristine musical performance, there's much better musicians out there who can perform far better and hit it note for note. These guys are not that. What I would also say, though, if any of you have ever been around Vince Neil, he's a small man. He's tiny. He's a tiny person. He's not very tall. So the weight looks extra big when you're 5'5" or 5'6" on your belly. You know what I'm saying? I'm 6'5". I can carry a shit ton of weight that's stretched out over a huge frame. So this guy is not a very tall person. And so yeah, I mean, him and Piercy are like, two little. I don't know what it is about these bands. They like to get the small guy. Every band has these tiny little frontmen singing with these big voices. I don't even know like Mike Howe, where does he get that big voice with such a
Yeah,
tiny body? I don't even
yeah.
know how it works though. Ronnie James Dio, small person, huge voice. Sounds like he's the biggest guy in the room. So in Vince's defense, Neely has no room to talk. Neely's not exactly the slenderest human being. I don't know. You guys
No.
talk about his fitness or something, but we've seen the photos and seen some side shots. I can show them to you.
Yeah.
I'm not even picking on him. I'm just saying, who's casting stones on? I mean, if Vince has lost weight and is for
Yeah.
his health and he's not, he's still out there doing it. Hey, all props to him, dude. Because again, he could
Hmm.
be like Ozzy in a casket right now, for all we know, right? If he's fighting cancer or a heart attack or whatever, the fact he's even getting on stage and pulling it off if something serious like that's going on. But yes, I think Vince needs to take note. I think Kendall would agree. Stop drinking, Vince. Cut it back, dude. That's really what part of this is the food consumption and the alcohol consumption. The alcohol consumption is still vast. I'm telling you. You can just see the guy
Hmm.
drinks booze.
Yeah.
And when you drink vast quantities of booze, it affects your organs, it affects your body, it affects your heart, it affects everything. So not to get on the fucking pedestal about that either, but all these people constantly acting like alcohol is okay and weed's not okay. I'm telling you right now, I'm not knocking alcohol. I'm just saying if you drink vast amounts of it, you're gonna get fucked up, dude. So
Yeah.
yeah. How do you feel about that, Kendall?
Alcohol or Vince Neil?
Both.
Vince Neil. We'll stick to Vince Neil.
Or body shaming.
Well,
Yeah.
body shaming. I mean, body shaming when you're all busted up yourself.
Yeah.
I would never say nothing about anyone's genes, but so Motley Crue was one of the core bands that I started with when I was, getting in the middle of like 8, 9, 10 years old. And even as a naive 13-year-old, I had the opportunity to go see Motley Crue, and I just really had no desire to do it. And I'm glad I didn't. And I'm glad I could say to this day I've never seen Motley Crue. Not to say I don't enjoy their early music, but it's something I take pride in that I never saw Motley Crue. And alcohol, I mean, I drink alcohol for one reason, and that's to shoot better darts.
Oh,
Specific dart games to northeastern Pennsylvania, not English darts, which they play everywhere else in the
yeah.
world.
Oh.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, and again, I don't. I got plenty of people in my life who can crack a beer or two and have a good time, no problem. And then I got a guy in my band who's went off the rails to the point where it's like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. You're like, after a couple of cocktails, who is this person that just showed up? It's not the same dude that was here earlier, you know? But it is odd to me when Aiken and Neely start talking about people's weight and fitness. That again.
And who's a singer and who's not a singer? He's not really a singer.
What world are we in here? Right. To stick to the rock and the metal. I mean, let's just say, hey, glad that Vince is alive. Glad that Vince is on stage. He's not like Ozzy and deceased at this point in time. Whether we want to go see him or not, let him go earn his paper and do his thing. And I agree. I have openly said on this show with Ruben that Motley Crue, I saw them the best on the Swine tour when they were hungry because they were down and they were reunited and trying to remake their name, and they really came out aggressive, and Vince tried to sing and it tried to make it a good show. I've seen times after where I felt like they got the money back, they got the big stadium or arena, and now they're kind of I don't know, cashing it in. It just kind of feels, especially Vince, it just feels like he's prancing around singing every fifth word.
Well, he's a contractor. I mean, he's having fun because he's not. He just collects his check and he just shows up and
that's the way obviously that Vince. I mean, and if you really now going back and looking, because again, I'm like you guys. When the Decade of Decadence home video came out, I was the kid that put that in the fucking VCR to see all the behind the scenes. How are these guys exist? What are these guys really like? And even back then I looked at it and thought, Vince just gets handed a piece of paper to read and a microphone to sing and wants that money, baby. He wants the money and the girls, and that's all he cares about. He doesn't care about the machinations of this operation. That's all Nikki's problem.
Right.
So but hey, at least he's out there. I was concerned for a while there with the lack of sightings and with the few pictures you provided, Ruben. It looked like he was definitely losing weight, and sometimes that can be a bad thing. That could be like I got cancer and I'm going down, or if he had a heart attack or some other organ issues where it required a doctor said you need to cut some poundage off here, buddy. If he went out and did it, hey, however he did it, let's just hope that he stays upright.
Right.
Again, just a little less tequila, Vince. A little less tequila.
Yeah, I think that it comes down to that. But yeah, I mean, they were done. I when they announced their farewell, I saw that. Yeah, that might have been like December of 15, I think. That's what it was, right?
Yeah,
I think.
That was,
but either way,
10 years ago.
I mean, it was pretty sad because of the fact that, Alice Cooper with less stage available to him and not all the bells and whistles, a limited use of this and that and the other, and they still put on a solid show. I mean, they blew Motley apart, I thought. And then they come along with their gadgets, their gimmicks, and then their lip syncing, and it's just like, and it was good to see, but then it was one of those things that's like, yeah, I don't know that these guys are really done, and here they are now with John 5, slipping him in place of Mick Mars, who, Mick, again, he's probably the musician, or was the musician of that band, and then you get a guy like John 5, who I like. I mean, I liked all his work with Roth, his stuff he did with Manson and with Rob Zombie. He's just not a good fit, and his solo stuff especially. But he's just not a good fit in that band. I mean, I would think, well, that might be the thing that might pull me in to go see them, but it's just not a good fit.
I'm going to give a hot take. I think DJ Ashba would have been a better spot there.
Said that too. Yeah, I've said that too. I mean, because he already had history with Nikki and 6 a.m. and
Guns N' Roses.
He even has that kind of Mick look to him. I mean, he's already got the dark hair. He's got the tattoos. Just slip him in there.
Play the riffs.
Yeah, play the riffs. He played on some of those records anyway. He's all over Saints of LA.
Saints of Los Angeles.
Yeah, he's in there already. So, I mean,
I think Mick did the solos.
Yeah. So there you go.
They're, no mystery there. I've said all along, yes, Mick was the true musician, the guitar player. The guy actually can plug in and play note for note something and give you some music. And Tommy's a great drummer, but Tommy can't write riffs. But let's just say John Five's not going nowhere, because just a couple days ago there was photos of John Five with Nikki
Mm.
and Brittany Furlan of their John
Oh.
and Tommy and their wives at dinner for John Five's birthday. So
Yeah.
I don't think John Five is going anywhere. He's Tommy's buddy now,
Mhm. And he's
once you're in
Mickey's
T-Bone
buddy.
circle,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
not going nowhere, dude. And Vince don't care as long as someone's playing guitar and he gets the check. So
Right. So there you go.
yeah. We'll get one last
Yep.
little. Well,
Yep.
again, there's 50 other news notes, but one last thing. I guess the bass player for Great White had a fist-sized tumor in his head. Like, how could
Yeah, I don't
Evil's
know.
this? Look at my fist. Can you
Yeah,
imagine
I
that
know.
being in my head?
Yeah, that's crazy.
What the hell?
Yeah.
So no offense to him, if he can not, like Lou Graham, you gotta hope he doesn't come back pudding brained and
Yeah,
unable to
no
know where he's
kidding.
at or something, right? I
Yeah,
mean, seriously, to take out that much stuff out of your head, it seems like I'd be removing some functionality of the actual brain, I would imagine. I don't know, but
Can you
so
imagine
hopefully he's gonna be
flying?
okay.
Can you imagine? They do a lot of travel dates, like Dawn and all these other 80s acts, right? So you figure what would that do to your head when you're in flight? Eek. You know?
I don't know, but I have a blood clotting thing sometimes, and so I try
Mhm.
to avoid flying if I'll pause. I can't imagine with something a fist-sized thing in my brain
Yeah, no
be
shit.
going anywhere. Shit, I wouldn't be
Oof.
playing bass guitar at all. But I don't. Evil doesn't want to be inappropriate, but we have to broach the question: wouldn't they just call Tony Montana and make it as close to the real Great
No,
White
that's
as
true.
possible? The guy's out there; he can play the bass or the guitar. He could do it. Quite frankly, I don't think I even need Lardy. Get Lardy out of there and put Montana in his spot. That's what I would do. But I mean, I don't know.
But I think
They're
Montana's
probably
in
gonna
the
get some guy.
he's in the
Yeah, that's my.
Lochner version of Great White
I
or
know
whatever they
that's
call
where
that.
they need to just get it over with and find some way to bring the best of both
And don't
bands
they have,
together and
isn't
call it.
Andrew,
So.
no, it's not Andrew Freeman performing with them. I think it's the little
It
Italian guy.
was. I don't. Was it Ilouis now?
Ilus, yeah.
Terry Ilouis or
Yeah.
He's Spanish.
He's doing
Spanish.
Starbucks commercials, Terry.
Yeah, right.
I'm surprised you got that.
Yeah. He's
He does
that-
doesn't he do the
nothing against
cartoon
him.
voices? No, but he does the cartoon voices too, doesn't he? Doesn't some?
I don't
voiceover
know. He
stuff?
I
probably
thought that was
does.
Mark Slaughter. No.
Oh, it was
or that
Slaughter.
just-
Yeah, Slaughter did the
gotcha.
Animaniacs. He probably has dough from all that. Jeez.
I just saw, I mean, you mentioned Andrew Freeman. I just saw him sing with George Lynch's non-lynching mob.
What did
'Cause
you
they don't
think?
lynch-
What
they
did you
don't-
think? What did you think? I'm curious.
The
What
non-lynching mob.
Yeah, they don't lynch anymore. It's just the mob.
the mob.
But,
That is crazy. That's worse than the Motley thing.
First time I saw Andrew Freeman, but just, he fits the mold of all the other guys, Oni Logan.
Mm.
He just fits that mold. So he did fine with it. I'd rather see a guy like that than the 20-year-old guy who
Yeah.
George
had.
had with him.
Yeah.
So
He was not, I mean, he just wasn't a good fit, right? Like it
it
was
just doesn't
some-
seem right.
Yeah.
It's
It was
just
just kind of
something
like,
off about seeing these guys like 20-year-old hipsters, and Jeff Tate is doing this too. Like Jeff Tate's playing with a bunch of 20-year-old dudes.
oh, don't
hipsters.
bash. This is a non-bashing.
No, I
tweet.
love.
I'm just
I
kidding.
mean, I'm in the Jeff Tate
No,
camp, but I'm
I-
just gonna say I'm going to a show.
But they're
and-
cheap. They're cheap. I think that's what he's doing it is because they're dirt cheap. And
You
I
can
mean,
give them
I
a
think,
sub sandwich and $50
Yeah.
and they're playing guitar. Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
just add something to the resume. Hey, I performed with Jeff Tate. But no, I mean, I think you're right. It is kind of weird to see this 60-some-year-old man with surrounded by a band of like 20-year-olds, 25-year-olds. It's like, are those his kids? But
Well, I'm even kind of okay with that, but here's what he needs to do. You're George Lynch, bro. Just
Yeah.
put George Lynch on the banner. It
Mhm.
doesn't need to have a mob or anything
Yeah.
else. You're George Lynch, dude. That's like in my world. And so anyone else who plays an instrument of guitar and knows anything about rock music, you're like right there with Van Halen and Randy. George Lynch is right there, dude. So you don't need I can't imagine there could be that much difference drawing power from
think
George
about
Lynch and the
this.
mob versus just being George Lynch and
Or-
friends, or George Lynch and his band, or what? Just
Yeah,
George Lynch,
or
Yeah,
just
you know?
just the George Lynch band. Like if he insists on
Yeah.
selling it as a band, just add band to the tail end, and people will
George Lynch and
recognize it.
Friends,
Yeah.
or whatever. Yeah, I mean,
And
but again,
Friends
that's
would
what
be
we're all here
probably
for.
more appropriate because the way he rotates people in and out. I mean that would probably be.
And I'll say this: the problem with the other guy wasn't his age; it's his lack of connection to the band and the material. It almost, when you watched him on the videos, I didn't see him live, but I watched the videos on YouTube.
Yeah, I
It feels
saw
like he's singing, and it sounds okay. It just feels like he's disconnected. Like there's no passion
Mhm.
and true involvement in what's going
Right.
on here. Now, maybe he's a foreign guy, and I don't know, but like when you go see Ronnie Romero, and he
Mhm.
sings these songs from other people, there's a passion and
Yeah.
an ownership of it. Like, I'm going to take this on, like this is also my song now. And so Ronnie's age doesn't factor into how he sings Dio stuff. He owns that stuff and sang it like it was his. And
Mhm.
so George needs to not get the guy who's up there like cashing it in for that $100 in the sub sandwich, and find the guy who actually, again, wants to be up there and wants to be the singer for George Lynch. I don't know, some of these other guys, when you watch them, it feels like they're up there for the booze and the paycheck, and they don't fucking give a fuck about this.
Do you think? I think George is probably paying Andrew Freeman in skinny jeans.
Well,
Tight jeans
he started with a man bun too, and then he took it out.
Oh no!
the man bun is never a good startup.
So yeah, I know. Yeah, I can't wait to chat with him at some point. Chit chat with him at some point.
And I do agree with you, Kendall. I think it's very weird to see Jeff Tate in a cowboy hat with a bunch of 20-year-old kids. But since I saw Queen,
yeah, I like the hat myself. I don't mind it.
Since I saw Queensryche in May with Todd, I am going to go see him and these kids in November, and I'll come back with the review of what these youngsters.
I'm going to see him in November too.
I'm going to put this out there. This is a casino show up here, and it's a pretty small place. So my bet is some of these kids are going to end up on that casino floor or somewhere around the restaurant bar before or after these shows. I'm going to find one of these kids and go, "What is he giving you, a pizza?
Yeah,
$150 or what's?"
Oh wait, let's see.
Are any of you related to him? Are you guys offspring and you're obligated to fulfill father's band obligations? It just seems weird. There's always like this troop of like 5 or 6 young guys with him.
They're all from like Scotland and Ireland. I think he just met them on one of his wine tours.
And then just said, "Let's jam."
Yeah.
Well, and again, no, if it's working for him, I'm gonna go see it just to go see how he does the same shit I just saw. But again, this is where Evil kind of says, like, Chris DeGarmo and even Whip can mop the floor with these kids. So I don't really like. It's not helping me feel like your band's stronger. I mean, it's just like you got some guys who can roughly play the licks, but there's no way those guys are going to equal what Queensryche original guitar players were doing, right? So, let's just put it this way: DeGarmo and Whip are writing those riffs. Let's see what some riffs that these kids are writing. I'm going to guess they're nowhere in the league of what we're used to. But yeah, so we'll see how it goes. I'm going to go check it out because it's a $35 ticket. You kind of can't really go wrong seeing Jeff Tate for $30 or whatever. So, but definitely the backing band and the situation there made me wonder. I don't know if I'm going to. Yeah. I think I'm going to come away feeling like Lattori's version is the one I'm going to go see going forward. Is probably how I've seen Queensryche with Tate, so I know really what I didn't see him with DeGarmo. He was already out. But they had I think Mike Stone or one of those other guys there. It was around the early 2000s, and it didn't sound bad. It was still a good show and had Rock and Field and everybody on the kit, which is another thing that I miss. I'm just going to be open.
Did you see where he put out an announcement? He's going to do something. I don't know exactly what he's going to do.
Scotty Rock is?
Yeah, right.
I hope so. I've been waiting all along. I've been saying, like, the dude is an amazing drummer. I'm going to go on record as saying the posts that have happened since he's left Queensryche have left me scratching my head at times. The things I have seen. It's almost like, is he mental? Is he something going on here?
Yeah, something's not right.
So I hope I don't know. I'm not trying to cash the aspersions or make allegations, but when I see things like that, you got to wonder: is he drunk? Is he high? Has he got a mental problem? Like, some of these things are kind of like roller coaster posts. I'm going to be out there doing this, and I didn't see anything. And I'm going to own Queensryche, and they're going to be. I didn't see anything, and I'm like, well, okay, what's going on, dude? Are you getting lawyers? Are you owning Queensryche?
He's not doing anything.
I'll be the reality to me though is all of those guys. Again, you guys need to take a look around at what just happened. What just
Yeah.
happened? Ozzy died, dude.
Mhm.
Okay, so like none of you are staying here. None of you have infinite time, and quite frankly, none of you make music better without each other than you did with each other. And this is not just for Queens. This goes for all these bands. So if you want the one last, no matter how good it might be, no matter what these people like Neely and Aiken's opinions, this guy can't sing, he's fucking fat. This people want the original dudes who made the music on the albums that they all know and love. And the more originals you get on that stage, the more money you make. That's just the way the game works. So if I'm Queensrÿche, whether I'm whipping Eddie and I love Latore or not, if it's DeGarmo or fucking Tate and Rockenfield and that can happen, we are absolutely signing on board and going on fucking tour as the real Queensrÿche and making the fucking dough. Barring that, if they can't get all those guys, then all these dudes are just going to be doing their own
Right.
thing. I still think though, at some point in time, the man's going to go, I got a check for this amount of money. Some guy from some Paul Allen guy in Seattle will go, I got a check for this amount to see real Queensrÿche on my stage for my whatever. Someone eventually is going to go, fuck, dude,
Oh, yeah.
that's a lot more money than we're making right now. Call fucking Tate and see if we
Yeah.
can figure this out. You know what I'm saying? That's just we can all say it, but that they're doing this right now because the money equals the same when there's a time when someone offers more, like Don Dokken got offered to go to Japan, was more than they were all making individually. So even they could find a way to shut the fuck up and get on a plane and go to Japan for a couple $1 million. So,
all right. Well, there you go.
The CMS guys love to say, "Oh, never." And I'm like, dude, it's all about money. It's all about money. And all these guys would probably reunite if the right dollar signs are in front of their face. So there's very few who are going to be like, "Nope, I'm turning down $1 million. I'm staying home." I hate that. Yeah. So, well, I think that's pretty much all we got. I think anything else really going on right now is, but. I honestly, you guys made me sad going over the metal church stuff because I was thinking about Mr. Hal and Mr. Wayne, and then Ozzy died.
Yeah.
Oh,
There you go.
I also want to give a shout out on the Metal Church. We've because Eddie Trunk snubbed them at the Metal Hall of Fame. My favorite drummer, Kirk Arrington, rest in peace.
Oh yeah.
Metal Church.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
For primarily his work on that first album, self-titled song.
Right. Yeah. Kidding.
And Eddie Trunk snubbed him, huh?
I think so, man. From what I remember,
Yeah.
he was there. Yeah. He was there, and he didn't know who he was. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So you're saying that someone stumped the trunk?
Yeah, himself, and then
he stumped himself.
He stumped himself.
Oh, Eddie. Well, and he also he got stumped right out of Birmingham too, and didn't take that very well either. So.
Right.
Well,
there you go.
We'll see how the week flies. Is there a CMS? I had a gig last night, so only caught the back half of the CMS. Is there even a show next? When does Neely fly out to find Dawn?
I think it's
again,
next weekend. I thought next weekend.
I think he can't go more than a month or two without trying to get back to his his duties as personal assistant. So.
Right.
Well, hopefully one of these days, Wendell, you'll realize I'm not that bad of a guy. And when you're gone, I can just slide into Studio A with Aiken. Time flies, Chris. I haven't talked to you all week. What have you been up to, buddy? No. I'm having a couple of
That's
cocktails
the first hour.
chatting with my friends. Yeah, I got this down. I can totally slide into Studio A and fill his shoes. So you just need to realize that.
Yeah. I was once a co-host at one time.
I know.
I don't know if you recall. But now I'm in the whack pack of the real CMS Wrap Up Show.
It's like the whack pack over here. And again, message to Neely. Why are you not letting Kendle step in and fill in when you're not there, dude? Come on. She can chop it up with Aiken like the best of them. So look, she's right here with us, and she's making us, so come on, dude. Yeah. What happened is they're afraid of me for some reason. I don't know why. I don't. I guess they have no sense of humor about themselves. They can crack jokes. See, Evil's the kind of person. I have a sense of humor about this is not real, ladies and gentlemen. This is all a facade, just so you're aware. And you can crack jokes at me all you want, and I don't take it personal. As a matter of fact, I'm the kind of guy who'd want to get these people on the air so we can crack jokes at each other and all have a laugh. But I think Wendell gets real personal and thinks that I'm trying to be him. I'm just his younger brother, Kendle.
Yeah.
Wish you'd understand that. Father Dayton has a lot of children, Wendell. Come on. All right, y'all.
All right.
Well, It's really early on the West Coast. Evil usually doesn't wake up at 9 a.m. It, I had a gig till 2 or 3 in the morning, so this is like the shades are on. I'm barely hanging. I'm gonna go back to bed with my kitty cats and take a big fat nap. So, thank you for coming on, Kendle. We appreciate you. Everybody, rock out to some metal church this week while you're at it, and maybe next week or the week after, I'll get the Ouija board out and we'll see if Hal or Wayne want to channel themselves through the CMS Wrap Up Show.
All right.
All right, y'all. Thank you, Kendle.
Thank you.
Yep.
Take care, guys.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, kids.
Bye, guys.
Raise your horns high.